You ever see a guy's face melt from the inside out? No? Well, I've got just the movie for you. Welcome back. Today we are diving into one of my favorite 80s horror movies, Slugs from 1988, a true ucky, yucky, gross out classic. But first, John Carpenter has his first original graphic novel called Cathedral hitting shelves in August. That is so exciting. I really wanted to put that on your radar. And one of my most favorite humans and directors, Rebecca McKendry, has announced her new vampire horror Sundown, produced by Slash. That absolutely rocks. She was up in Canada here for a little while in Winnipeg filming, and I'm so excited. It's going to be more of a snowbound horror, and I absolutely cannot wait for it. So exciting. But on a less exciting note, we also lost a few members of the horror community this past week. Jamie Blanks, director of Urban Legend and Valentine, and also Nicholas Brendan, who played Spike on Buffy. That one hit. That was sad. And also Chuck Norris, but he didn't have great politics, so rest in piss, I guess. But on a completely different note, before we start, have you guys seen the updated remake of The Burbs? I love Keke Palmer. I absolutely love Jack Whitehall, but I don't know how much I want to commit to the series until I hear some better reviews. So if you guys have heard anything about it, if you've seen it, let me know what you think. We actually had The Burbs, the movie, as a part of our film fest last year. Okay, on to today's movie. Slugs. If you have not seen this one, it is a wild film with crazy effects. From 1988, directed by Juan Piquer Simon. People are dying mysteriously and gruesomely, and nobody has a clue what the cause is. Only health worker Mike Brady has a possible solution, but his theory of killer slugs is laughed at by the authorities. But when the body count begins to rise and a slug expert from England begins snooping around, does it begin to look like Mike had the right idea after all? Now, Juan Piquer Simon was known for making low-budget films that punched way above their weight in terms of gore and effects. You guys know I love practical effects, and this movie is absolutely chock full of them. He directed Pieces, which is a horror community staple, and also The Rift. It's a pretty cool film. I recommend it. But this movie, Slugs, is actually based on the novel Slugs by Sean Hudson. He's a splatterpunk author, and the book is somehow even more extreme and nasty than the movie. And I love a book that goes into extreme detail. I love the fact that text on a page can make you have such a visceral effect and reaction. But anyways, writer Hudson admitted to being so unhappy and embarrassed by this film that he never allowed another film to be based on his work. He was even quoted somewhere saying, "Do yourselves a favor and don't bother watching it. It's awful." But in recent years, he has grown a soft spot for it and considers it a guilty pleasure. I definitely think it's a guilty pleasure film. And with this movie, we get an essential creature feature B movie from the 80s that you really have to be in the mood for. So let's get into a little breakdown. And possible spoilers will be ahead. Set in a small town dealing with a bizarre infestation, the film follows health inspector Mike Brady, like I mentioned, as he starts noticing that people aren't just dying, they're being eaten alive by mutated slugs. And these are not your garden variety pests. Well, slugs are not really pests. They're wonderful little creatures, but not these ones. They have been contaminated by toxic waste, turning them into aggressive, flesh-hungry killers, and things escalate fast. Victims get swarmed. Their bodies are literally dissolved and devoured in some really cool practical effects sequences. We'll get there. But it really is pure body exploding, body melting, 80s exploitation, insanity. And by the end, the town realizes the infestation is widespread and the solution becomes extreme: flushing the sewer system with chemicals to wipe them out. It is so messy, it's so chaotic, and it really does leave you with, like, when you're done, it's, oh my god, is it actually over? But let's talk about my favorite and the most obvious and memorable scene from the movie, the dinner scene. Okay, strap in for this one. We've got this seemingly normal suburban dinner set up. Nothing suspicious. It's one of those classic horror movie moments where everything feels a little too normal and you know shit's about to go down. So, one of the guests starts eating a salad. Already a red flag in this movie, but anyways, pretty quickly something feels off. He reacts kind of at first, like maybe the food tastes weird. But then he realizes that the slugs have contaminated the food, and it's not just like, hey, they're in the bowl. The guy starts choking and sweating. And he realizes that he's bitten into it and he's eating these slugs. And then his body starts reacting. They are eating him from the inside out. My actual worst nightmare, I'm literally so afraid a bug is going to like crawl inside of one of my face holes at night and lay eggs. It's one of my like most irrational fears. But is it really that irrational? Anyways, this is where Slugs goes, like total chaos. This guy's face starts to swell and you get the awful sense that like something is building inside of him. And then his face, it just starts melting and it's just... It is so grotesque. It's almost like a baking soda in vinegar kind of thing. And speaking of that, the explosion, like the face sequence, it's done using a pressurized dummy rig packed with fake blood and chunks, and it was triggered to burst outwards. There was not really any CGI in that scene, just pure disgustingness, which is probably why it feels so disgusting and visceral. But for the rest of the film, they used real slugs mixed with practical effects like prosthetics and air bladders and mechanical rigs to create the eating flesh illusion, meaning, yeah, the actors were often covered in slimy creatures. Disgusting. It's like, okay, my name is Joe Rogan, welcome to Fear Factor. Also, in saying that, not a Joe Rogan fan. Hey, not a Joe Rogan fan. But this movie was shot in Spain, and they just dressed it up where they were filming as an American town, which kind of gives it a slightly off feeling that makes it a little bit dreamlike, but possibly nightmarish. All in all, Slugs is exactly what it promises to be. Gross, ridiculous, and completely committed to it. It takes something as simple and harmless and honestly kind of pathetic because like they can't do much as a slug and turns it into this unstoppable flesh-eating nightmare, and somehow it works. Is it subtle? Absolutely not. Is it believable? Not even a little bit. But does it deliver on some of the nastiest, goopiest practical effects you're ever going to see in an 80s horror movie? 100%. And that's kind of the magic of Slugs. It doesn't try to be smart or elevated. This is not something, if you want smart horror, go somewhere else. This just wants to gross you out. It wants to make you squirm. We can talk about that movie in the near future. And this movie possibly wants to ruin salad for you for the rest of your life. And you know what? I'm still gonna go eat it for dinner. If you're into practical gore, creature features, or just like watching a movie go completely off the rails in the absolute best way, this is one of those hidden gems that you need to dig up, literally, and just maybe, hey, Don't eat dinner while you're watching it. And in saying all of that, thank you so much for being here and for listening and for being weird. I'll talk to you in the next video. Sayonara, suckers.